Christi here with Little Salty Homesteader. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am actually going to be doing the April garden tour for you guys. I am going to show you what's going well in my garden and some of the stuff that isn't going so great, but I'm working really hard to try to save it. So let's go ahead and get started. So this area here is my tomato patch. I have videos where I did plant this out a few weeks ago. As you can see, almost everything is growing absolutely beautifully. I do want to take you guys on like a detailed walkthrough, talk about the different varieties and the companion plants and all of those things. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an almost full shot there for a minute. I tripped over one of Logan's flower pots here. But anyway, I wanted to give you guys kind of a full-ish view of the tomato patch before we went into detail over a lot of these plants. So let's start with this back row here. So this bed is actually cherry tomato types all along the back row here. There are companion plants planted in the middle, many different types, and then I do have a cucumber, which also works as a companion plant. Working on growing its way here. This is the muncher variety. If you didn't see the video where I direct sowed these seeds, Logan, my 10-year-old, and I are going to be doing a cucumber experiment, trying to determine which cucumber gives the best pickles. We have 7 different types of cucumbers growing all over the garden, and the goal is to try to find the crispiest, best tasting pickle out of those 7 varieties and kind of keep trucking along from there. So just to quickly walk through kind of what's happening in here. These 2 plants are Evil Olive, and you can see starting to set a little bit of fruit here. This is a Rosella cherry. This one is always a standout performer for me. As you can see, it is starting to set fruit as well. I actually need to come back through and do another row of the Florida weave trellis, but I just need more time, y'all. I need more time. This is a Sakura cherry tomato. This one is typically used in greenhouse production, but since my greenhouse is not ventilated, I'm giving it a go outside to see how it does. And then I have 2 cherry tomato plants that came from seeds from my pawpaw's last cherry tomato plants that he grew. I'm pretty sure they're just like a typical box store variety, but I kind of like having a little piece of him in the garden with me, so I grow these every year in his memory. As far as companion plants go, this is Italian oregano. I have already harvested a bit off of it whenever I was making pizza, and it is awesome. I love it. I know that it's probably going to take over a large portion of this bed. I am okay with that. We use a lot of oregano. I'll be able to dry it and use it for like tacos, Italian stuff, obviously pizza. So it'll get well used. This is Thai basil. It is already flowering. That is okay. I'm good with that. I typically use Thai basil for stir fries, Thai curry, obviously, Vietnamese stuff, Japanese stuff, anything that any sort of Asian type dish that is calling for basil, I will come out and grab Thai basil for that. I actually still have some hanging over my window in my dining room from last year that is completely dried that I need to put away. I just haven't done it yet. Then we have Purple Emperor Nasturtium. Let me kind of show you guys some of the flowers there. Now there are varying shades of purple that come off of this one plant, so it's really cool to see. And as you can see, it's grown quite large. And then one of the issues that I'm battling, if I can show you guys, is roly-polies. So you can see them all there, munching on a marigold stem that they actually chewed off. So I'm gonna pull those out of there. Leave my plants alone. I have, I think it's 2 Black Beauty eggplants here and here. This one is blooming. I'm really excited. And then I have 3 of the Listata de Giandia. I know I butchered the pronunciation of that. My apologies. But this one is kind of like a variegated, stripy purple and white eggplant, so I'm really excited for that one. I have white borage as another companion plant in here. And the straw mulch is sprouting. So what I like to do is just pull it as I see it, as I have time to spend a few minutes each day. It's really easy to come up, so it's not like overly annoying. We've had a lot of rain and I've been watering a lot because I planted more seeds. So, you know, it's gonna happen. I actually can't remember what basil this one is. So let me see. Corsican basil. So I think this one has like a stronger basil flavor if I remember from reading the description for it. Yeah, I think so. This is like going to be an extra strength basil flavor. Ha, lol. So that's why I'm growing it, for the extra strength. And I think it may also get purple within either the stems or the leaves. We'll see. And then I have variegated nasturtium here, although it doesn't seem to be variegated. It just seems to be green. But it has these really cute little orange flowers that I love. And then that is a sugar and spice marigold. It is not blooming yet. That is disco orange, and it is gigantic. I think that is going to be an African type marigold. The African types are much bigger, I believe. And then I already told you guys about the muncher cucumber. We have purple ruffles basil, probably mixed in with some regular green basil because I was not careful whenever I was scattering seeds. So if you can see, the Roley polies chewed on the leaves a lot, but you can, on this one, you can kind of see how the leaves are serrated. Yeah, you can see the Roley polies down there. Rude. And then we have, what is this one? Fiesta blend. So this one's going to be oranges and yellows. It's a blend, so it'll be a surprise what color we get whenever it does start blooming. And then we have another, this is from a marigold medley mix. I think that's going to be another taller African variety. That's cool. It will help shade out the garden whenever things start to overheat. So I'm good with it. Okay. This middle row, this is the one that has the problem children in it, and we'll talk about it. It's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be okay. So these 2 varieties are Romas. I'm not sure if any have set any fruit yet. I did forget that these are determinate, and I pruned a couple of suckers off, so I'm hoping I didn't affect production too much. This one right here is a Marglobe variety, and you can see it's starting to set fruit, and it looks pretty good. I do need to come through and kind of trim the bottom leaves on all of these tomato plants. Like I said, I really need more time. I need more hours in my day. This one is missing its label. No, so this one is a San Marzano. It is indeterminate, so I have been trying to keep the suckers pruned. I do need to come through and trim the lower leaves some. It's starting to bloom a little bit. This one is, okay, so I think I had an opalka here, and the roly-polies just decimated it. Like, it was just completely obliterated. So I just pulled the tiny little stem that was left, and I had an extra Costoludo Genovese, so I put it in here just to fill the spot. I really love the Costoludo Genovese tomatoes, so I was happy to plant a second plant of that. I am a little bummed about the opalka because I did want to see what kind of, you know, the tomato flavor and how well it did for sauces and things, because it is a paste tomato. But at the end of the day, I'm going to get this awesome Costoludo Genovese, so I'm trying to look at the bright side here. Then this one This is interesting. So it's growing like a whole branch off of the end of these blooms. Interesting. This one's doing the same thing. This one is, oh, this is a dark galaxy. I have not grown this tomato before. This is new to me. I am a bit excited about it. It's salad size, so it's gonna be bigger than a cherry, but smaller than like your slicers. Think Campari, it's gonna be around that size. It's blooming. I don't know if it has set any fruit yet, but it is looking healthy for the most part. That's where I pruned off a sucker branch. Okay, we're getting near the problem children. Okay, so the label on this says it's a black beauty, but it does not have the same color stem as this black beauty. Also, this black beauty is being a brat. The other day, let's see, 3 days ago, I guess, it looked amazing. It was green and happy and healthy and doing all the good things. I went to bed. I came out the next morning to water some seeds that I had planted, and it actually looked quite worse than this. It was sad and pathetic. So I watered it, and it seems to be okay. Like, this part seems to be really strong. It's not like limp and falling over anymore. It has new growth coming, and it's blooming. So I am just gonna keep an eye on it. I'm gonna keep babying it along. So far, it seems like it's going to bounce back. Any leaves that have gotten like crunchy from whatever it was that happened to it, I pulled those off. So I'm just waiting for it to recover, and hopefully I'll get some black beauty tomatoes. I also planted some cowpeas in between a few of these tomato plants. I believe that there's 4 cowpea places down this row where they were planted. I can't remember which variety this was, if it was Phenomenal or if it was the purple hold pink eye cowpeas. It was one of the two. I planted one in this bed and one in that bed. So as far as companion plants go, it's kind of the same story down this bed as it was in this one, as far as like different basils and marigolds and nasturtiums go. But the key difference is at the end of this bed, I have this cool tricolor sage. As you can see, it is green and white and purple, and you use it just like you use regular sage. It has the same flavor profile. You can use it in the same dishes and all of that stuff. This is one of my favorite things to grow. I unfortunately have killed all the ones in years past, so I'm trying it in a raised bed to see if I can just get it to live that way. For whatever reason, it tends to be a little bit pickier than the other sage that I've kept alive for a million years now. This is just regular borage here, so this is the blue flower variety. And then more purple ruffles basil. And look at the variegation on this. This is why I grow this, because it is so fun. And then we have giant nasturtium over here. If you weren't aware, nasturtium is edible. You can make a pesto with these leaves. It's not flowering yet. It is Fiesta blend as well, so I guess that one is just like a bigger one. And then the marigold that was here got eaten by roly-polies. There's the stem from it. Rude. This one is going to be homegrown pickles if I can ever get it to germinate. It has not yet. That looks like just a typical Genovese basil. It doesn't, oh no, that's Momolo. And then we have a dwarf jewel nasturtium. So there you go. There's the flowers on that one. And then we have, this is a Burpee's Best mixed color marigold. It's about to bloom there, so that's exciting. That's white borage. And then I don't know where my label is. Tulsi basil. So we have Tulsi basil here, and then we have, excuse me, peach, melba, nasturtium. The flowers aren't open on this one, but it's really cute. And then we have a giant marigold here. What is it? Let's see. See if I can find the label. Disco orange. Okay. All right. So we have more slicer / paste tomatoes on this row. There is another problem child down at that end that we will discuss. Poley being a jerk. I can't find the label. Wow. Okay. So this is a Super Stew. This one tends to have a more acidic flavor profile. I'm growing it for salsa reasons because I don't like my salsa overly sweet. I like it to be kind of tangy and spicy. So that's why I'm growing that one. If it does really well, then I'll grow more than one plant next year. I re-sowed a calendula variety there. I think what's happening is maybe things are sprouting overnight and then the jerk roly-polies just decimate it. This is a Creole tomato. Typical slicer, supposed to be more heat tolerant. And this is a mess of a tomato. No, I'm just joking. It is going kind of wild, but that looks like a really, I wasn't sure which one was the sucker on this, so I just let them both go. And now I have a wild plant. That's a porter, so another slicer that's supposed to be more heat tolerant. This one is actually a Texas heirloom. What is happening there? This is Eva Purple Ball. I don't see any fruit set on there, but I do see a few blooms. This one is Arkansas Traveler. You can see just, that looks like roly-poly damage. And then it's blooming here a bit. Okay, problem child number 2. This one was me attempting to save a tomato that roly-poly's damaged. So it was fine. I came out one morning and they had chewed through most of this, and this part was just like flopped over, laying in the soil. So I just broke it off of here, and then I was like, well, I'm gonna see if I can get it to root from this part. And so it looks really sad right now, but I checked this morning and it is starting to generate some roots off of that stem that I planted into the soil. So hopefully it bounces back, because this one actually is an opaca paste tomato. So that would be great if I could get this to do something. It is an experiment, much like that one is an experiment. But I'm trying not to give up on these little plants. I'm trying to, help them fight for their own lives here. We do have some calendula that sprouted here. This is the coffee and cream variety. And then this is my Woolly Kate tomato. As you can see, the leaves are fuzzy and it is starting to bloom. As it starts to grow its fruit, I'll show you guys what it looks like because it's so cute. It's one of my favorites. I actually need to prune this, but I feel like some people say it's determinate and some people say it's indeterminate. So I may just leave it and just let it be wild. All right, last bed in the tomato patch also happens to be the most wild. I love it. Okay, so this is going to be mostly really large varieties. The big ox hearts, the beefsteaks, those big meaty tomatoes. These two plants right here, this one, are actually the Rebel Starfighter Prime tomatoes. And if you watched the video when I planted these were substantially smaller than the other tomato plants, but they're catching up and they look really good and they're blooming. They just started blooming, so I don't think they're setting fruit yet, but I love that they're doing so well. This one is, I really need to run another row of trellis. This one is, my favorite, Roley. I don't know how to say it, I just know that I love it. Okay, So it has a ton of blooms, this one and that one. Look at this one, y'all. What? That really? That's so many. I love it. Maybe we had some fruit set here. Maybe I'll get to show you guys how that one grows along. I love it. So both of these are the same variety. And this one right here, and this one are both Thorburns terracotta. This one actually has a couple that are growing. So this one is a semi-determinate. So I still don't know if that means if you prune it or not. So I'm kind of just doing both and pruning it and letting it go wild because I have no clue what the right thing to do is for these two. But they seem to be pretty healthy, especially since they're setting fruit. And then the last two in this row are both Italian heirloom. The seeds that I have for the Italian heirloom are actually Oxheart variety. So you can see this one's starting to grow, how it has that Oxheart shape. And it has another one here. I'm not sure if that one has any fruit set yet, but really exciting. This one gives me really humongous tomatoes, so I'm super stoked. Okay, so we have more companion plants. This is Burpee's Best Mixed Colors here. It's a tiny little guy, it's very cute. This looks like a purple emperor, yes. So let me get in there so you can kind of see the shade of purple there. That is another Thai basil. That is a borage, but I don't know if it's white or blue. Then we have this tall guy. What are you? Sunset Giants marigolds, mixed colors. At the end of this, I'll show you guys what I did to kind of help myself identify all these different plants because it's a little intense and my husband called me a nerd for it. This is Vesuvius nasturtium. It's a really cool color. Lime basil right there. So that one I'm going to be using for teas and lemonades. Then we have Market More. Let me get down in there. Market More cucumber. There are radish planted all around this. There is some dill that is growing right as well, right there and right there. So the radish and the dill are companion plants for the cucumbers to try to help ward off pests and draw in the good bugs. This is Happy Days Mixed Colors marigold. I think I planted like all my super young plants in this bed. This is the Bloody Mary nasturtium. No flowers yet. This one, oh, this basil is something else. Look how big this is already. So this is Persian basil. As you can see, it has really interesting leaves. It tastes really good. We've harvested a lot of it already. So that's white borage. So the other one at the other end is going to be the typical blue variety. And then right here, this herb is my son's favorite, Logan. This is pineapple sage. He loves to make lemonade with it. The flowers, whenever it goes to flower, it's really sweet. It tastes like pineapple. So he asked me to grow this every year. It does not perennialize here. It will die in a freeze, so I have to just buy a new one every year because I haven't been able to find seeds for it. I don't know if you just propagate it to grow it or what. And then, let's see here. This is a plant. It's a plant. Okay, so this is black from Tula. It is starting to get blooms, but no fruit set yet. This is another Costelluto Genovese, and I'm letting this one go wild too, because when I was pruning it, I didn't know which branch was the main branch, and I didn't want to like cut the wrong one. So I'm just letting them both go. And then This one is okay. The fire department is right behind my house, so sometimes there's just random sirens. Okay, so this is Texas Star. It is looking really healthy. I do see where it's going to start blooming soon, but I don't see any fruit set just yet. This one is Giant Syrian, and it's growing all giant, but it does have a fruit set. I can't remember if this is a bicolor tomato or not. I'm going to have to look. This one is Druzhba. It's a mini beefsteak. No fruit set just yet, but I do see some blooms there. And then this one is, wait, that's Giant Syrian. What is this one? Giant Crimson. Okay, my apologies. This is a Giant Crimson with the fruit set. This is a Giant Syrian with the blooms. And then we have Japanese black trifle paste tomato, but the tomatoes are pretty big, which is why it's planted here. Okay, so these two raised beds behind me have all of my sweet peppers, as well as about half of my okra planted within it. They also have two of the cucumber plants that we are experimenting with. And then there is a quad style container there where I'm growing all my squashes and zucchinis this year. So let's go ahead and get the detailed walkthrough on those. So for the detailed walkthrough, I'm going to first walk down the front side and discuss everything that's on the front and possibly the middle, and then I will come back the opposite direction and discuss the back row and anything I might have forgotten from the middle. Okay, so as I was saying, the very front row of both beds is sweet peppers, and this bed is doing a little bit better than that one, but we'll discuss the reasons why as we go down. This one is a habanada. So what this is a habanero pepper that has no heat, and unfortunately it does have roly-poly damage, much like a lot of plants within my garden. As we go down, there are definitely some pepper plants that are doing better, and then you'll see some other ones that really got decimated by the roly-polies, but I'm trying to save. So I also have an ant issue that I'm dealing with. And as long as they don't bite me, I'm kind of okay with it because they're aerating the soil. But once they start biting, then it becomes a big problem that we need to handle. So this is actually a Racina calendula. This is the one that is used most often for medicinal practices. The other calendula do have medicinal benefits, but this one is the most potent. So that one is growing. I have another one that I planted in the back row of the tomato patch. It just has not germinated yet, but I did want to point that one out in particular since that one is the one most commonly used for medicinal reasons. The next few pepper plants here are going to be sweet banana, and as you can see, those are doing pretty well. They're nice and leafy, they're starting to bloom. My plan for these is hopefully to be able to pickle them like you do pepperoncinis. I have attempted to grow pepperoncinis in the past, and the banana peppers are just more prolific for me here, so I really just want to pickle them to be able to use for like salads and pizza and snacks because I like to eat. So that's what the next 4 are. So 4 sweet banana pepper plants. Wow, I went ham. Okay, so this is a cardinal basil, and I'm not really sure what affected this. If you guys know what this might be, please let me know. We have gotten a lot of rain, so maybe it's some sort of like fungal issue. This is, sure, Cherry Rose Jewel nasturtium. We'll take your word for it, label. Sugar and spice marigold, borage, a purple opal basil, I believe. Okay, butterscotch nasturtium. I think these are going to be like a pale yellow, like butter yellow, but I'm not 100% sure. This is the Queen Sophia marigold, so I'm excited to see that one. This one is the Space Master 80 cucumber. I grew this one last year and I had so many cucumbers. It was insane. I just kept finding them in places. So I'm excited about that. Then we have some dill. I think all 4 germinated without roly-polies bothering them. And then, of course, the white icicle radish. And then these 4 plants are California Wonder bell peppers. My plan for these is to be able to let them ripen and then dehydrate them and use for paprika. We go through so much paprika here, so if I could make my own to kind of offset the cost a little bit, I am all for it. So that's why I have so many bell peppers. Not necessarily because I love eating them, because they're pretty plain tasting to me, but because paprika. I do have dragon tongue bush beans interplanted. There's a few plants in here. I think there's 3. So that's my favorite of the bush bean varieties. So I wanted to make sure I did get some planted. And then orchid cream nasturtium, more Mamolo basil. This one's really lovely. That one looks nice and healthy. And then marigold medley. Looks like another African variety perhaps, since it's so tall. All right, so on the squash and zucchini front, this is interplanted with nasturtiums and icicle radish. So the variety that's here is yellow scallop, and then this one was rondinise. Look what happened. You can literally see what happened right there. That's what happened. It germinated and they found it. The roly-poly issue this year is so bad. Okay, moving on. This is a nasturtium that I don't have a label for, but I thought that it was cool because it has 2 different colored flowers on it. So that one is red and that one is yellow. So that's cool. I think that might be a variegated one, but I'm not 100% sure. So this is a Lesia pepper. This is going to be kind of a ox heart shaped sweet pepper, really thick skinned. The goal is to combine this with the bell peppers for the paprika. Then we have Mulata Isleno, which is going to be poblano type peppers, but these are brown when they are ripe. I grew poblano last year and had a pretty good poblano year, but I wanted to try these brown ones to see what we thought of them. You can kind of see where roly-poly has nibbled on them a little bit, but they seem like they're going to be doing okay. This one's starting to develop its blossoms, so that is cool. Then we have lettuce leaf basil. So these leaves are going to get really huge. There's one. I mean, it gets even bigger than this, but these are going to get really huge leaves, enough that you can use them for, like, in place of lettuce, for wraps or sandwiches or anything else that you want, like a really big pop of fresh flavor, especially whenever lettuce isn't in season right now. This is a variegated nasturtium, another one. So there we have yellow and disco yellow marigold. What's interesting is this one is so much shorter than those disco oranges that we saw. Then we have white borage here. That's the other mulatto isleno. Then we have violet sparkle peppers, and you can see one is starting to grow. It's going to turn like a violet color, hence the name. Then we have just regular Genovese basil and Phoenix nasturtium. I don't have any more seeds for this, so I want to try to save them once it starts generating seeds. Then we have Ashvarsky, and I have not grown this or eaten this before, so I can't really tell you what the flavor or anything is like, but I am excited to grow it. And then I don't see the label for this marigold, but it's really cute, look. And then this is a Chicago pickling cucumber with the radishes and the dill interplanted there. And then that's Ajarsky. These last two, this one that's healthy and this one that's not, are Purple Beauty bell peppers. These seeds came from my pawpaw, so this is another instance of me having my pawpaw in the garden. But I do like to use the purple ones whenever I make like stir fries and, you know, stuff like that, where you just, fajitas, things like that, where you just dice up or slice up bell pepper and cook it really quickly. These are really good tasting. The ants are moving in. This one, Roley polies, just completely wiped out, but I saw like little tiny leaves, so I left it, and the leaves are starting to get a little bit bigger. So hopefully this bounces back. Hopefully. Okay, so we have more purple ruffles basil here. Look at the serration on the leaves. That is so cool. That's where it gets the ruffles name. And then we have Tip Top Alaska Salmon nasturtium. So let's see if I can show you. There we go. There's the flower on that. And now we'll come into this back row here that has the okra. So this was an okra plant last year. This is kind of the trunk, because as you can see, it grew a tree. The roly polies are breaking it down. I'm totally cool with them breaking this dead thing down. Please do that. But they're also eating my live things, which is really annoying. Anyway, so for the okra, we have 2 Alabama red, and then in between I have a blue spice basil. This is one of my favorite basils. It's better suited for tea because it does have a vanilla note, but it smells so absolutely amazing out here. It's probably the most fragrant basil that I have whenever it's growing. So whenever it goes to seed, I like to come out and brush my hand across it, and then the whole area will smell like this vanilla scented basil, and it's absolutely delightful. And the flowers are like a coral color, so it's not like your typical white or purple basil flowers. It's just, yeah, it's one of my favorites to grow because it smells amazing, it's good in tea, and it has pretty flowers. So the 2 Alabama red, and then we have 2 Clemson spineless right here, and between them is lime basil. Now I tend to have a little bit of issue growing lime basil, but I currently have 2 plants that are alive, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah, Clemson spineless. So you can see both seeds germinated here. What I'm doing is I'm letting them get their true leaves, and then I'll decide which of the 2 is the healthiest one, and then I'll just pinch the other one out, so that we're only left with 1. And then the next 2 basil plants that I have growing are Eagle Pass here, and the basil between them is lemon basil. Now this did get some damage from a cold morning that we had. And then roly polies. You guys, when I tell you I'm battling roly polies, you can see I'm battling the roly polies. On that note, okay, so you can see them crawling all over the beds. The way that I'm trying to fight them is I have these little traps here filled. I mean, they're kind of shallow traps. I have beer in them. They're attracted to the beer, and then they drown, and I have less numbers. But I think I need more traps in these beds. Like, I think I need maybe like 3 or 4 traps within each bed in order to combat the sheer numbers that I'm dealing with here, because I could wipe out 50 a night and there's still like 700 that are really just like, what are these 2 doing? What is happening here? Are they making more roly polies? Are these two roly polies making more roly polies? Or is this one eating the other one? What is happening? What is that? Anyway, so frustrating. These are eating down this okra tree. Go ahead, eat the tree. Leave my living plants alone, please. We have some alyssum here. This is royal carpet, so I think it's going to be purple. Then we have heavy hitter okra. This is the only seed that I had, so I'm so happy that it germinated. I want to try to save seeds from this one because the plant is supposed to be incredibly prolific. And with as much okra as we eat in the summer, I want incredibly prolific. I'm excited to see this guy growing. Okay, cardinal basil. This one has really beautiful red flower heads. The flavor itself isn't anything super spectacular. It's just your typical basil flavor. It's the flower heads, and the pollinators go bananas over those red flowers. So that's the main reason that I grow this, aside from you can't really have too much basil. So the next two here are hill country red. Not very different from the Alabama red. This is just like a Texas variety compared to an Alabama variety. Then we have Corsican basil. And then Jing orange. So these are going to be red okra pods. They're kind of long and slender compared to like short and stubby. They're more tender than like the hill country and the Alabama, which are like short and stocky. And then we have a roly-poly riddled Tulsi basil. That's not Tulsi. These are Tulsi. And they seem okay-ish. That is something else. And then we have white velvet okra. This was my favorite one from last year. This was the stalk from that variety. What the heck is that? And then we have a little bit of alyssum growing there. So a lot of life happening in these raised beds. Even if you consider the fact that the roly-polies are going ham, there's a lot of life in those raised beds, even with the roly-poly problem. Everything really is doing well for the most part. Now, I didn't actually label any of these. I actually have a map inside that I'll show you guys at the end of this video that details what sunflower is planted within each of these pockets. As you can see, there's 12 pockets, so we have 12 different types of sunflowers planted within here, plus this surprise. I don't even know if this is the same variety here. I'm just letting them grow because it's sunflowers and they're beautiful. We're starting to get like a flower head. Not yet in that one. So I'm really excited to see what those two are going to be, plus all of the ones that are starting to germinate, starting to pop up. I probably have too many planted within these containers. Whatever, it'll be fine. So the thought process behind planting them a little bit closer together is so that I could use them more for cut flowers if I wanted to. I do love to come out here and harvest fresh flowers from the garden and make myself beautiful bouquets. So that way I don't have to buy them from the store because flowers are expensive and I can just grow them. This is actually a chocolate daisy and it's super cute, and it's going on its third year. It is a perennial. At the end of the warmer season, it just kind of goes dormant. All of this part dies off, and then there's just like a flat piece left at the bottom. That actually stays green throughout the year. I just threw a little bit of fertilizer in here, and it's loving it. It's doing really well. So I'm happy to see that just continue to grow. So this grow bag and this grow bag are actually flowers that Logan planted. He wanted to have a flower garden this year, and Lily wanted to have a flower garden this year, and I had sort of utilized most of the space, so I gave them what I had left, but he's happy with it. I thought that I saw something sprouting, but maybe it was just a trick of the eyes. We haven't had like a whole ton of sun, so just sort of waiting on things to pop up. But this one is a cool little variety here. I'm gonna try to show you guys without stabbing myself because it's also violent. So this is a Bells of Ireland. It will actually get much taller. It's actually grown quite a lot in the last week. But you can see these little bell-shaped flowers, and then you can see that it has thorns. So it's violent. This self-seeded from the one that I grew last year, and I am so happy that it came back because it's so cute. It looks really awesome in cut flower arrangements as well. So I'm gonna wait for it to get a little bit taller, and then I'm gonna cut that bad boy down and make a flower arrangement with it. So behind me here, I have so much going on in a space that doesn't even take up a whole lot of space. So I have 3 green stalks on my patio, and then I have this flower bed here that doesn't really grow any food unless it's accidental, like that cilantro, because the dog kind of runs through here and sometimes he does doggo things. So I don't grow food in here typically for consumption, but I do grow flowers for beauty. So let's step over here and see what we have growing. So this snapdragon is called a night and day snapdragon. It is a perennial compared to a lot of varieties that are annuals. So once it gets too hot, it may not flower, but it will stay kind of green. And then in the winter time, it goes dormant and stays green. And then in the spring, you get a whole heckin' lot of this. I have cut off several and made a flower arrangement already. And then sometimes you get really interesting bugs. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to ask like a bug ID group, but yeah. Anyway, so night and day snapdragon, perennial. It's really pretty. Sometimes it just wants a warm hug at night. Also in here, in the entire flower bed, all the way down, I have a lot of different types of zinnias. They're labeled. Some of the labels have already faded, so I'm going to do my best here. But I also have amaranth in the back, ladybugs, not ladybugs, roly-polies. You can see the roly-polies. I do have beer traps in here for those as well. So this zinnia lost its label. Oh, illumination. So that one's going to be pink. Eldorado. That one's going to be coral. Queen lime. No idea. Oh, exquisite. So maybe another pink variety. I have Diablo Cosmos. So these will be yellow or orange or red. A Rudbeckia variety. Magic Carpet Snapdragons. This cilantro, obviously I let it bolt, but I'm just going to let these, I'm going to collect some of the seeds, but for the most part, I'm just going to let them drop so that I can have a giant cilantro patch because it smells really good out here. And whenever it bolts, the bees, I get a lot of bee visitors, which is really good. I like feeding the bees. But there are some zinnias growing underneath here. So we have Isabellina, which is going to be like a cream color. Then we have Queen Lime Orange, Oriental Lantern Snapdragon, Envy Zinnia, which is green, Mazurkia, which is like a pink and white, Poley, Meteor, so this one's going to be a red variety, Spider Lilies, this must be Queen Lime Orange, that is a milkweed, if I can get it to pull through, Echinacea Paradiso mix, Rembrandt Snapdragon, Queen Lime Blush Zinnia, that is a hollyhock, that's the black variety, common milkweed, Agastache, polar bear zinnia. This is Plains Coreopsis here. Hopefully it's going to start blooming soon. This is my feverfew. This is supposed to be the pumpkin on a stick eggplant, the ornamental eggplant. I don't know if it's going to do what it's supposed to do because the ladybugs are doing not ladybugs. Why do I keep saying ladybugs? The roly-polies are doing roly-poly things. The battle is real, y'all. These Cosmos are seashells variety, and We kind of have the same thing over here, just kind of in the mirror reverse, except for where I have a couple of volunteers, sweet alyssum and some kind of sunflower that I'm not sure about yet. And then this is a double sunset Gaillardia. But other than that, I mean, the stuff just kind of mirrors on this side. I did apply some cedar mulch. I do need to get one more bag to mulch Lily's flower bed area. I'm waiting for some things to finish sprouting. She planted some Miss Mars sunflowers, some zinnias, maybe nasturtium, cosmos, I think, marigolds, I think. We planted all kinds of stuff in here, so we're waiting for that to germinate. Then I'm gonna apply some more cedar mulch and then apply it to some, you know, kind of bare spots throughout there. These are the other two of Logan's planter bags for flowers. Here we go. Got a germination there and there. So that's good. He'll be happy. Nothing in that one yet. Okay, now we're up on the patio. There's a ton of food growing up here, and that's excellent. So this one previously had lettuce. If you watched any of the other videos that I've done this season, you'll know that this had lettuce in it. The kale, it's just kaling. I have cut it repeatedly. It keeps growing back, so I'm just gonna leave it. It doesn't seem to be affecting the growth of anything else, so whatever. This is a wild bergamot. I'm 99% sure. I think that's what I threw in here last year. And it's kind of coming up through here, but that's okay. This is planted with bush beans and cowpeas. I do have it mapped out inside as to what is planted where. These 3 tiers are bush beans, and then the remaining 4 are cowpeas. So you can see where everything is starting to sprout, and I'm really excited about that. So the main goal here is to obviously grow some food that I can, you know, blanch and freeze, those type of things, but also the beans and the cowpeas are going to be nitrogen fixing, so that's going to in turn fertilize this container for the next time that I plant lettuce and leafy greens in it. That way I don't have to continuously amend things repeatedly. It just lessens the amount of fertilizer that I have to apply because it is contributing to the soil health. And then my lime tree, y'all, let me tell you, this thing smells so good right now. I can smell it at the back door. I can smell it at the other end of the tomato patch. It is just so fragrant. These little blooms are all over. It smells so good. It's looking so healthy. It's had a lot of leaf growth this year, which makes me really happy. It looks overall like it's a really healthy plant. I did heavily fertilize it earlier this year, so I think that it really needed it, and it is just kind of showing off right now, and I'm not mad about it. So as you can see from just looking at it, that there is more than pepper plants that are planted within here. My goal with planting this out was to try to incorporate pest repelling plants within here so that I wouldn't have to battle things like aphids and hornworms as the gardening season progressed. So in many of the containers, I have different types of nasturtiums, different types of marigolds, and then different types of basil. All of these varieties are supposed to be dwarf varieties, so they shouldn't really take over the pockets of the green stalk, but they certainly are filling them out. So let me just start with this side from the top to bottom, and then we'll go around to the other side and work top to bottom. So I have a Hungarian wax pepper, which is basically your hot banana pepper. Then here I have like a petite yellow marigold and another Hungarian wax, spicy globe basil. This actually does taste really good. We had it on pizza, and it's a little bit stronger flavor than, you know, your typical Genovese basil. And then I have a Tabasco pepper, and another Tabasco here with this beautiful, I think that's orchid cream. That is an orchid cream nasturtium. Look at that. So beautiful. All right, so we have Serrano, Serrano, Serrano. 3 Serranos. We love Serranos. Whenever you ripen and dry them, that's the chilies de arbol that are typically used in the red salsa you get at the taquerias. So fingers crossed that I'm able to at least have a few of those that I grew myself. Petite orange marigold here, and then we have petite yellow marigold here. This is the Craig's Grande jalapeno. I do see a blossom there, a bloom there with Alaska red shades nasturtium. Look at the variegation on that. It's so cool. Then we have French double dwarf marigold with another Craig's Grande jalapeno. With the jalapeno varieties, I do have probably 2 of each plant type, except for just plain jalapeno. I think I have 3. We'll see as we move down this thing. So I have pumpkin spice jalapeno. That blossom fell off, that's okay. See if any set fruit yet. Nope, but lots of blooms. And then this is the dwarf Greek basil. Really, really cute. And then pumpkin spice jalapeno. It's probably another pumpkin spice. Nope, this is lemon spice. So, okay, pumpkin spice, lemon spice, a lot of blooms, and then lemon spice that does have a little pepper growing. And then this is dwarf bolero marigold. And then we have orange spice. There's another little guy growing. And then another orange spice. This one has a few. That's exciting. And then I went around to the back side even though I wasn't going to yet. Okay, let's work our way back over here. So we have brown jalapeno, which I see blossoms but no peppers yet. And then dwarf bolero marigold, Mexibel. These seeds were also from my pawpaw. It's just like a little miniature bell pepper, but it's spicy. And then we have dwarf bolero marigold, a lot of those. Okay, and then we have regular jalapeno, and then we have Alaska red shades nasturtium, regular jalapeno, and French double dwarf marigold. Looks like we might have a jalapeno grow soon. And then sugar rush peach here, a sugar rush peach here. We have petite orange marigold with biquinho pepper. And this is also going to be biquinho pepper. These are like little tiny peppers with pointy ends. They're really cute. Then we have mushroom pepper. This one and the biquinho are new to me varieties. All right, then we have French double dwarf marigold and cayenne. Spicy Greek basil, that's that sugar rush peach. Now we're gonna work our way back up here. We have just a regular hot jalapeno, brown, that's the brown one that I showed you guys with dwarf Greek basil, black velvet nasturtium here with pumpkin spice, orange spice, lots of peppers growing there, orange spice. Then we have petite orange, serrano, rattlesnake, another new to me variety this year, and Craig's Grande there. These are Buena Mulatas. This one and the Sugar Rush Peach are my husband's favorites. The Buena Mulata, let me just walk around here so I can show you a little bit easier. As you can see, it has little purple flowers and they're super duper cute. This is a cayenne type pepper, but the peppers themselves are purple. They will ripen to red, but as they start the ripening process, it kind of looks like the sunset as it goes through various colors of peach and orange and then into that deep cayenne red. So this green stalk right here is the experimental green stalk. The area that it is in is going to be completely blasted by the sun whenever the heat of the summer is in full-blown Satan hellscape mode. Right now it isn't too awful bad because the sun is a little bit further in the other direction, but as we progress into summer and May and June, the angle of the sun is gonna change quite a bit, and in the evenings it's gonna come right through here and just onto this green stalk. So this is experimental. The things that I'm growing in it is really just trying to see how heat tolerant certain things are. This thyme is a perennial. It is on its 3rd or 4th year. It hasn't croaked yet. I pruned it back pretty heavily this year, but it's growing back with a vengeance. I will prune it again in the fall. Right now it is flowering and the bees kind of flitter around it a little bit during the day. I use thyme repeatedly throughout the year, especially in soups and stews. Beef and chicken typically get a lot of thyme usage. It is medicinal, although I have not used it for any medicinal purposes, but if you think about chicken soup and all of the different herbs that are in it, that's why it always makes you feel better. Okay, so there is quite a bit going on within this green stalk. There's several different things that are growing. There's several different things that I'm attempting to grow in here. So it is all, like I said, a big experiment in how heat tolerant are these things. This is a volunteer of some sort. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I'm letting it grow until it either flowers, or I determine that it's a weed, or I determine that it's slowly killing me. If you guys know what it might be, please let me know so I can determine if I need to yank it or leave it be. I have a chamomile here. It's not very big, but it's growing and it's really cute. There are also 2 varieties of cucumbers in here. So we have Pickle Bush and Space Master. Now the other bed had Space Master 80. This is just regular Space Master. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that one. We only need 1. These are supposed to be smaller, more compact varieties. I am pretty sure they're still gonna vine out and kind of cause a little bit of chaos. That's okay, I think. We'll see. I may have to get creative with, you know, kind of supporting them, but we'll see. This is cinnamon. Yes, cinnamon basil. I like to use it for tea, more nasturtiums. Mint, definitely containing it to just this pocket, otherwise I will have 30 pockets of mint and I don't want that. More Persian basil. It's just so interesting looking. And then the rest of these pockets that are on this really sun scalding side are going to be a dwarf variety of okra. It actually germinates really well. I planted 2 seeds into each pocket that, you know, I was planting in because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I hadn't grown it before, but it's germinating really well. So as they get their true leaves, I'll come back and I will pick the, you know, the kind of shrimp of the 2. That way there's only 1 growing within the pockets, because I don't want to crowd the okra, because even though it is a dwarf variety, it's still going to be like 3 or 4 foot tall. So this thing, if it grows, is going to be really wild, and I kind of can't wait to see it. But let's go ahead and go over to this last side here. Okay, so this side is where I have super hot varieties planted. So I have Actually, this one isn't a super hot. This is just a regular hot. This is an Aleppo pepper. It's used in Mediterranean, some Middle Eastern, and then Moroccan cuisine. So I thought that I would grow it so that, you know, I enhance my own cooking with traditional ingredients. Then I have habanero, and lemon habanero. And then I have just some various companion plants to assist with pest pressure. So Queen Sophia marigold, marigold medley, Queen Sophia marigold, black velvet nasturtium, that cherry rose that I pointed out, and then the basils that I pointed out already. So that is almost my entire garden wrapped up in this tour. Some volunteer herbs that are happening here. I'm just letting it happen. So there's Greek oregano, which I'm really stoked about because my other one died off. So this is really exciting. And then I think this is blue spice basil, which, as you guys know, is one of my favorites. Now I did intentionally plant some marigolds and some zinnias and some sunflowers in here, some dwarf varieties of sunflowers. That was just a few days ago. So I'm just waiting for those to germinate so that we can get some flowers going in here too. And I did the same thing in that other barrel planter thing. So I have rosemary here and I have sage here. This rosemary I got last year and it's done really well. I didn't even cover it whenever we got the super cold. I just left it be and it survived. And then sage, this is my 4th year with this sage. And it smells so good. Sage also has medicinal properties, although I'm not 100% sure what they are. But I use it almost as much as I use the thyme. I think I use the thyme a bit more, but it does get used quite a lot. And I'm really happy that I've been able to keep it alive. Aloe, it's looking really sad, but it's rained a whole lot and it has a ton of pups in there. So I think that I need to, you know, thin it out, give away the little babies and freshen up the soil a bit, and then I think it'll bounce back. But that's not really at the top of my priority list right now. And then I just want to talk very briefly about these 2 plants, and then that we will wrap up. So this is a hardy hibiscus. The flowers, if I remember correctly, are really bright, like magenta, fuchsia, pink. This is my oak leaf hydrangea, and it is starting to bloom. So I wanted to show you guys because it's so cute. They are planted in 5-gallon buckets. Right now, I do want to upgrade the planters that they are in. I just haven't done it yet. This is Macarenia zinnia. It's really cute. So each flower will have varying variegation of yellow and red. And then I think this is illumination, so that's going to be pink. And that is an alyssum that volunteered. But that is, those 2 are looking so healthy this year. It makes me really happy. Okay, so the outdoor portion of the garden tour is complete now. I did want to fulfill my promise to you guys to show you my super nerdy garden map. It is hanging on my office wall, and the idea behind this was as all my labels fade or disappear or break or go the way of past labels, I would have some sort of way to reference what plant is growing where. So the way that I created this was, as you can see, I taped a whole bunch of graph paper together, and I went out and I measured pieces of my yard, distance between things, the length of things, the amount of space between things, and I drew it out as close to scale as I possibly could. I'm not perfect. I'm sure something in there is incorrect, but this is to my best ability an aerial view of my backyard as drawn with Sharpies. So let's kind of zoom in a little bit, and I'll kind of point out the different key parts of this. So this is the back patio where we just walked through all of those different green stalks, and I just labeled where those green stalks are within the garden. There's the flower bed. I did not label where each flower is planted. There are so many different things going on out there that it was really just going to be way too much to try to put all of those letters and numbers in the correct place. I did try it in my garden journal before I transferred it here. It just was not working out. But I did note where I planted sunflowers and where I did plant marigolds. Now, are they growing? I don't know. The other beds, let me get a little bit closer. So I tried to label what was in each bed for the most part. Squash, sweet peppers, okra, sunflowers. And then I have color-coded each of the different categories. And I gave each variety a number. And then I just kind of mapped out where each of those numbers is within the garden. So like, for example, this is the back tomato bed that's closest to my house. And I have these varieties, 25, 26, 27, and 28, growing in my raised bed. So then if you refer to my key over here, you can see that 25 is Evil Olive, Rosella, Sakura, and Papa's Cherry Tomato. Okay, I did the same thing with the eggplant, and then all of those different companion plants are also keyed in, and I do have the beginning letter, so like basil 16, nasturtium 11, marigold 1, herb 10, because I have several herbs that are just planted kind of all over the place, cucumber with those different companion plants around all through the beds. And then I also have those cowpeas. No, that's alyssum. There's the cowpeas. And then the bush beans that I planted. Now, figuring out how to map out the green stalk was a little bit of a challenge. I didn't want to put each tier on the patio, you know, like draw out all the circles on the patio, because then it would look like the patio is full of all of these round containers, whenever it's not. It just has one, you know, one of each. So on a different piece of graph paper, that's where I mapped those out. And let me just, so this first one, green stalk 1, is this one right here. And then this is the side closest to the house. This is the side closest to the flower bed. Tier 1 is going to be the top, and then all the way down the bottom, I mapped out each item that's growing in there. So peppers, okra, cucumber, nasturtiums, herbs, basil, marigold, right? The peppers is done the exact same way. I have the companion plants that are planted within the peppers labeled all the way through. And then the black green stalk, which is green stalk 3, has 7 tiers, the 7th tier being the bottom. So all of those are labeled as well. And then those items that are growing in there that aren't beans or cowpeas, I just wrote out because they're not on my key. My key includes all of the sunflowers, all of the vegetables, all of the companion plants, and all of the different herbs and things aside from that wild bergamot. But that is the super nerdy garden map of the 2024 summer garden. I love it. I know that it's a lot and probably looks really chaotic and kind of stressful, but I love it. I can look over here throughout my workday and just be like, I'm growing all that, and be really amused. And because I'm growing so many varieties and I'm gonna lose all those labels, it's really gonna help me figure out what is growing where, especially whenever it's time to start harvesting all of those beautiful tomatoes. But that wraps up this very in-depth walkthrough of the April garden so far here in North Texas. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you liked this video and you want to see more very in-depth garden tours, please comment below. Usually they're shorter. I just kind of point out interesting things as we walk through. But if you like this, where I go through each variety one by one, please comment down below. I greatly appreciate all of your support so far. Please feel free to hit that like and subscribe and do all those different YouTube things. I'm almost to 1,000, y'all. Almost there. But thanks again so much for joining me today. I will see you all next time. Until then, go find a way to get those garden manicures. Bye!